next race will be state representative in the 78th district. I'd like to welcome to the stage Thomas Weston Adams III and D. Ryan Dotson. You know, I saw a stain the other day that was about 2,000 years old. I think it was from ancient Greece. 73rd. Right. This is the 73rd district. All right, just to reiterate the rules tonight, we're going to have a 2-minute opening statement and then 2 to 4 questions that are 1 minute apiece. Mr. Adams, we're going to start with you with your 2-minute opening statement.
All right, I'm inclined to stand up.
Don't forget your microphone.
Hello and good evening. My name is Tommy Adams. I will be on the ballot as Thomas Weston Adams III, and I'm running for state representative because I believe that I will be a better representative for our entire community. When I say entire, I mean everybody. In fact, I believe that I will be a better representative to you, sir, than you have been to me. And I believe that I prove it every single day. I'm a teacher in this community. I teach at BCTC. At Bluegrass Community and Technical College, I teach communication, public speaking, interpersonal relationships, and one thing I know that we can all agree on is that in this world, we could use a little communication education. I also serve on a world-class search and rescue team, Wolf County Search and Rescue, that operates out of the Red River Gorge, with some of the most amazing people that I've ever had the opportunity to meet, and they're on my team. And when we come together with a diverse set of backgrounds to save our fellow Kentuckians and a fair number of folks from Ohio, our differences are not weaknesses. They are, in fact, quite the opposite, the thing that makes us so special. I'm also a committed public servant already. I'm a volunteer and an active member of our community. And I am trying to develop a reputation as the guy around here that you can call if you need something. In fact, there's another guy here tonight who's worked long and hard at building that reputation, and I have the privilege of running against him in our primary. Roy Houlihan is a great man, and I thank him for his support on our campaign, and I'm happy to know him, and that's real democracy right there. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to meet everybody in our district, and I'm going to look forward to doing that. Please don't leave here tonight if we haven't met or without saying hello. And if you want, let's have coffee tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for your time. I'm looking forward to the rest of the time.
Thank you. Good evening, friends and neighbors. I am Ryan Dotson, and I'm seeking re-election to the office of State Representative. It has been my distinct honor to serve you in this beautiful Commonwealth over the last 2 years. It has been a tumultuous ride at times, with the dark shadow of the pandemic lingering during my first year in, trying to get businesses back up and running, pushing back against massive mandates, vaccine mandates, and to attracting new business to the state. And we accomplished just that. In the second year of my term, I championed 2 wonderful bills that has now become state law. The first is Save Women's Sports. I was told initially that would never pass. There had been other versions of that bill that previous legislators couldn't get traction on. But I'm a fighter. I am persistent. And with the relationships I have built in Frankfort, I got the bill moving quickly and passed both chambers with overwhelming support. This needed to be done to protect our young ladies in sports and prevent biological males from playing in girls' sports where they had physical and physiological advantages. Secondly, House Bill 319 is a domestic violence bill that protects our pets in domestic violence situations. That has now become state law. And one of my greatest achievements of being a part of the General Assembly is finding a pathway to eliminating state income tax from 5% to 0% in the next 8 to 10 years. I am a Christian conservative endorsed by the NRA, Kentucky Right to Life, Kentucky State FOP, Kentucky Constables Association, the Commonwealth Policy Center, and all these endorsements are conservative organizations that back solid candidates. I was recognized as Legislator of the Year from one organization for my work in domestic violence. If you're a voter and you want someone who will fight for the unborn, fight to protect our children in school, fight to protect us from gun-grabbing liberals, and protect our Kentucky way of life, then I am your candidate, and I'm asking for your vote on November the 8th.
All right. Mr. Jackson, first question to you. What are your thoughts on student loan forgiveness?
Well, I think that is really unfair for those that didn't go to college that are working their butts off every day. It's nice to write a big check and get people on board for the next election, but I don't think it's fiscally responsible. So I think there are better ways to look at this issue, and rather than just putting that burden on all of the Americans, I think that we need to sit back and really take a dive and look at a deep study to make looking at going forward, looking at college and looking at trade schools as viable options that are affordable to people.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adams, same question to you.
One more time.
Yes. Where do you stand on student loan forgiveness?
Luckily for us, that's a federal issue that's being taken care of at a different place. But let's talk about what that means for the folks in our community. We want to make education possible for everybody here, and one of the things that our governor has been saying, gotta be trying to teach, was that one of the things we have to do in Kentucky is make it possible for us to build families where our children don't have to leave if they don't want to. Right? We want to make educational opportunities better here, and so I want to talk about that. But also, we do have a lot of social services available to help our people when they're in need. Businesses are able to take out PPP loans and when they're in trouble, just like students should be able to take out loans when they're in trouble. And I want to make sure that we aren't abusing the people who we need to lead us down the road. Because right now they're saddled with so much debt and they're not able to become the leaders that we want them to be. So we've got hopefully more to talk about on this, but I'm out of time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adams, keep the microphone. You get question number 2. With the recent Supreme Court decision of Roe versus Wade being overturned, what does that mean for Kentucky?
It's a disaster. We've allowed our supermajority in the House of Representatives and the Senate to do something unconscionable. Not only did they vote to ban abortion, they did so without exceptions. And so I want to tell you that on 5 different occasions, amendments were offered to the legislation that was passed by my opponent and his colleagues. And one of those occasions, I just want to tell you, folks on my side of the fence said, you know what, you're going to win this thing. You're going to ban abortion in the state of Kentucky. But would you please just consider exceptions in the case of incest or rape? And my opponent and others said no. That's just not okay. The extremist positions of the folks that took that position are just not acceptable. And they don't take into account the lives of the folks that are living with these situations every single day. I'm a candidate who will care about everybody that I am representing. And I want you to know that I am working the same thing.
All right, thank you. Mr. Johnson, thank you.
That he cares about everybody. He's leaving out the most vulnerable among us, and that is our babies. So with that being said, as a legislator, we are to be protectors of the Commonwealth, and there's none more vulnerable than those children. And I worked as a trauma tech at UK Hospital. I was in radiology. And when someone came in coded and someone died, they come in and done a pulse check, and they check for a heartbeat. Now at death, if the heartbeat is not there, they're pronounced dead. When does life begin? When the heart beats. That's a human inside of a womb. And I will protect a child in the womb, and I'll protect a child in the school. So as your state representative, if you want a fighter, someone who will fight the good fight and protect the vulnerable, you're looking at him right here.
Mr. Dotson, question 3 goes to you first. What does unity mean to you, and how will you use unity in Frankfurt, working with everyone in Frankfurt?
Well, here's the thing. Me and my opponent, Mr. Adams, there's issues we do disagree on. It's candid. It's out there. But there are things that we can agree on, like infrastructure, road projects, growth, economy. And we have to use those common denominators across the board to bring people and unite people together. At the end of the day, we're neighbors. Me and him have spoken before. I want no bad blood after this election. I want to be able to go out and have a coffee with him, talk about things that concern him, but and other folk of like mind. So that's what's really important. And there's going to be some things we will not We will not come together on it. He's on his side, I'm on my side. But what you as a voter has to do is to decide who am I going to line up with? Who holds the most of my values? And so, the ball is in your court, and I'm asking for that vote.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adams, what does unity mean to you and how you use that in Frankfurt?
You made a good point. I don't want to exclude anybody from this conversation, but one thing that we seem to be missing here is that you're on the wrong side of things here. 61% of folks, including Republicans, view your policies as too extreme. Upwards of 80% of folks in Kentucky believe that the choice that was made to pass that law was wrong. And so we have to realize that sometimes unity means allowing the folks that we disagree with to have their way. And that's something that I definitely I would love to have coffee, by the way.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you this. We do have to come together. And when the other side has a compelling argument, take it from a guy who teaches argumentation. I'll know. But I'll also be out there challenging everybody to make better arguments, to fight for something that they believe in. From the womb, defending in the womb and defending in the school. I just want to go back to that for a second. I'm going to defend them everywhere else too. Because I want you to know that once we have a mother and a child, they deserve protection throughout their entire life.
Last question, Mr. Adams, you get to respond first. What strengths and weaknesses do you bring to this candidacy?
I wanted to ask me that last time. I have to say this. I am not good at keeping quiet when I think a thing. And one of the things that I think is that this is a wonderful opportunity for us to present and introduce ourselves to the voters, but it's not enough. So what I did is I asked the folks out there today if they would be able to book this room again on Wednesday of next week at 6 p.m. I would like to have a real debate. And with your permission and with the endorsement of the chamber, we'd be able to do it. But if I book it myself, it's partisan and they won't allow it. So we have to get everybody else on board. So one, I'd like to do that because I can't stay quiet. And I don't think we've talked nearly enough. But beyond that, I'm going to tell you that I will be the annoying guy in the room. I can't shut up if there's injustice happening, and I won't shut up because too many people in our district and across Kentucky have been disenfranchised by the policies of those in office. We haven't talked about all of them. Teachers, schools have been defunded. Healthcare workers haven't been treated well enough. Our LGBTQ brothers and sisters have been targeted when they are more often the victims of violence. We can do better. I will do better. We can do better if we work together. Talk to me before you leave. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Johnson, please give some strengths and weaknesses.
Well, it's pretty easy for me, being a pastor here for 25 years, living here 30 years. It's hard for me to tell people no. I get calls at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm running to hospitals praying for people. I'm unashamed and I'm unapologetic about my faith. And when it comes to hurting people, I gravitate to that. So that is probably, at times my family, my children jump on me and say, Daddy, you let people walk all over you. But on the flip side of that coin, when I see something that is an injustice, when I see something that is wrong, and I feel in my heart a conviction, I fight like hell for it. And I'm not ashamed of it, because when something needs to be done, you know what? I'm like a pit bull on a bone, baby. I'm going to get a hold of it, and I'm going to be on it until it's seen through. So I'm not ashamed. And I said something that said here the other night. There were some Democrats that sit up here. They just disenfranchised themselves from the National Democratic Party. I thank God for that. They let us know they were conservative. But my opponent, Tommy Adams, he's not of that. He is a Biden supporter. So I just want you to know that before you make your
Thank you. All right, our next witness is the U.S. Congress